back, my crypto familiar, Mr. Blockchain 22 here. I'm going to make a short video on this article that came out yesterday for users succeeded with Dockerized way of running PLI node before 15th December 2021. So there was a major security patch for users who succeeded in setting up PLI nodes on or before 15th December of this year. If you had set up Docker container for PLI node and it's already running successfully, then they're asking for you to follow the steps below. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna log on to our node, right? And we're gonna go to our plugin deployment directory. So normally you will log on and you will land right here. So if you guys do ls, you guys can see the plugin deployment. So type cd for change directory, type PLU and tab, and then enter. So now we're inside our directory plugin deployment. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna run this command here. We're gonna leave the quotes, the quotation out of the command, and we're gonna paste it there, and we're gonna type or hit enter. So we're supposed to get this listen address 172.17.0.1. Since we did not get this, then that means we need to follow the steps as it says right here. If the output of the above command is this, then you don't need to do anything. Just close this page. Else, if the output is listen address this, then follow further steps mentioned in this article. We didn't get that, but because we didn't get what we're supposed to be getting here, we're gonna follow the steps. So what we're gonna do, we're going to run this, right? And copy that. Okay, so there. And because I was running this before I started shooting the video, we're supposed to get our container ID with this command. So if you guys remember the previous video, it's gonna show the container ID, the image, the command, all that, right? So just copy the container ID that's gonna populate under this, and we're gonna run these two commands. And we're gonna replace the container ID. We're gonna replace this with the container ID. So we're gonna do, basically, we're gonna type sudo docker stop, and then of course our container ID. In my case, my container ID was this before. I'm copying it from my little notepad thing. So it would have been that. Once you do that, you hit enter, and it's gonna bring you right back to the prompt, just like that. And then the next one is gonna be sudo docker remove, and the same container ID. So we're gonna do sudo docker remove, and of course the that didn't work. See, so sudo docker remove and this, and we're gonna hit enter. So once we hit enter, it's just gonna bring you right back to the prompt. There's no indication or anything. It just brings you right back to the prompt. Since I already did this before, there's no container for me to remove, and that's why I got that error, right? Remove, it's not a docker command or whatever, because there's nothing there. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna run this command. I had an issue earlier yesterday when I was trying to shoot the video, and I realized, copying from this article, the quotes at the beginning and end right here, and of course this little tildes, right? We need to change those before we paste them onto the terminal. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it on here. As you can see that. So you see, I want you to pay attention to this right here and see if I can increase the size of this. Right. So if you guys can see the quotes here, right, and the tildes here, they're very different. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to basically remove this or delete it, and then use the actual quotes on my keyboard. So shift and the quotes. See the difference between this one and this one? And that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna remove that one as well. Shift quotes, right? For shiggles, right? I'm gonna do the same for these two right here because they're different. So I'm gonna remove that and I'm gonna press the same the tilde key, and it should be the key right next to the enter key on your keyboard when I'm referring to quotes and tildes, right? So I'm gonna do that. See the difference between that one and this one? And that was throwing me off when I was shooting the video yesterday, when I attempted to shoot the video yesterday. So now that we have fixed that, we're going to copy this, right? And we're gonna paste it onto our terminal. And we're gonna run it. And now we're back to our prompt. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna restart the PostgreSQL. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste it here. Enter. And took a couple seconds, and we're right back to the prompt. So now we're gonna do, since we're already in the plugin deployment, we don't have to do this command. We are already there. You guys see that? Plugin deployment. So second thing we're gonna do is sudo docker images. And it's gonna give us our image ID, which you guys saw that I had it right here, right? So I already have that there. So I already pasted that there. Now that we have our image ID, we're gonna run this command, sudo docker. So we're gonna copy this whole thing here because we're gonna replace a couple things in there. So bring this down here, copy that. And then the first thing we're gonna do is gonna remove this. Actually, we're gonna copy our image ID and we're going to paste that there. And we're going to ensure that there's nothing else that we need to change. Actually, yeah. So absolute path of your plugin deployment directory. So if you guys remember from previous videos, to get the absolute path of where we are right now, we're going to type pwd, right? Pwd, press enter, and we get our absolute path of plugin deployment. It should be, /root /plugin /deployment. So we're going to copy that. And we're going to replace that here from bracket to bracket. Be mindful of the spacing and all that. So from there, I'm gonna paste that there. And now we have our command complete to run it. So we're gonna copy this now and we're going to paste it. Boom. And we're gonna run it. That can run help. Okay, we're getting an error there. All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. So the article had a typo in the command. So I just talked to the devs real quick while I pause the video recording, and so you guys can see how live this actually happens. So we were able to fix that. Now we are here, right? So we're gonna run sudo docker run space dash dash env dash file, and it looks a little more clear here. Sudo docker run space dash dash env dash file plugin, and we're gonna replace, of course, the absolute path, and we're gonna replace the image ID, which we did. So now that we have the whole command, we're gonna run it, which I already did. I did it off camera while the video was paused. So we're gonna run that, and we should get a response with some alphanumeric, just like so, right here, right? So if you got that, we can move on to the next step. The next step is this sudo docker ps-a. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste it on here, and we get, of course, our container ID, our image ID, and everything else that's there, right? And that gives us our container ID. So we need to copy the container ID from here, right? Because we already had the image ID. Now we need to copy our container ID. So we're going to copy this. Is the numbers and letters or the alphanumeric right below the container ID. So we copy that by highlighting it. I'm going to bring this to my little notepad here. I'm going to paste that there because the next command we need to replace the container ID. So we're going to replace our container ID in this command, right? So we're going to copy this. I'm going to bring it here. And we're going to copy our container ID. And we're going to replace it, right? Boom, we're there. So now we have our command completed. We're going to copy this. We're going to paste it here. And we're going to run it. I think I'm having the same issue with this thing. So we're going to replace this things right here, right? The quotes, remember? Place that. I'm going to replace this. And I think that should do it. So I'm going to copy this. Paste that. And we are online. So I hope that wasn't too much of a headache. The more you play around with this and you get familiar with Linux, you're going to start noticing some things as you work through them. So for example, the quotes, for whatever reason, the format of Medium changes the quotes into this little cute little quotes, but they're different. It changes the format of it. So when you paste it into a document, and I'm gonna show you real quick again the differences. I know I covered them just a few minutes ago in the video, but just so you can understand why sometimes you get errors, and sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it's just how we copy commands from a website, from another form, of the internet into our terminals, and sometimes we think we did something wrong, but it's just like little, nuances as the quotes in it. So if you see the difference between this and this, that is what was throwing off the commands when I was running at first. And then of course it was changing the command from here. It had, I'm sure when the devs were typing this, or whoever wrote this, um, it changed the double dashes into a lone dash. And if you guys go back to the video, you're gonna see the way it looked before, and when I paused the video or when I was trying to figure the thing out. And I talked to the devs, they were pretty awesome and responding real quick, and they even modified the document so we could see the change on there. So now that we have that done, we are completed with the steps. So again, if you run into any issues, please reach out to them on the Discord channel. They're really awesome. Just keep in mind that they're in a different time zone. So if you're in the US or any other part of, the side of the planet, they'll take some time to respond. They're usually more active morning time for the US, and really close to nighttime for us in the US. So because throughout our days they're nighttime. So thank you, and I hope this video helped you. Then again, of course, a reminder, um, this is only if you run this command without the quotes and you don't get this. If you don't get that, then you need to run this and you should be good to go. Well, thank you again. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I got more videos coming. I got AMAs coming as well. So I'll keep you guys up to date on this PLI notes. Thank you and have a good one.